Thank you.
Hi. Okay, so yeah, every time every time we have to share about our clients,
Mm-hmm.
I do have to like kind of dig a little deep and be like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, what do I want to ask about? Sometimes I don't. It's kind of like EQ with my coach.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have stuff and then it just takes me a minute to like figure it out, but we only have like 3 minutes or 5 minutes to bring it up
Mm-hmm.
in class, so I get it.
Very curious. It's you're right because I find it interesting because I'm like I don't. It's interesting to me because I'm like if I sorry I'm like cooking ish. I'm making salmon on the grill.
Nice. How yummy. That sounds
Yeah.
healthy to me.
And the grill's just been so sporadic. Like it goes up to 500 and then I had to bring it back down, but then it went all the way down to like under 200 and I'm like, what is happening? But it's
Mm.
okay. That's I'm just moving back and forth, just so you know. But um I thought it was interesting because we are technically could be co-voyaging with the client, right? Like there's things that most people say that could trigger us. And I feel at times I don't like right now, like this week, I don't feel that way. Um, and I'm curious what that means. And I don't exactly know, but I did feel neutral about all the information shared, and we did touch on things that showed like the person's emergence. But yeah, I did. I did feel pretty neutral about my sessions this week.
Because you already worked it out with Vicky, or because your sessions are neutral?
Not because my sessions are neutrals, I just didn't really have anything that I felt inspired to share,
Yeah.
right? Because then I was like, oh, I have to say something, so I'm gonna like fabricate something that I think is interesting or important. And I'm not saying that it wasn't important. There, I just share when I feel inspired to. I don't, and of course I had to, so I shared what I
Yeah.
shared, but I didn't feel like anything really resonated or was like a key point where I have a level of curiosity, you know, which
Yeah.
is interesting as well.
You think so?
I mean, it could be. I mean, we could make up anything out of anything, right?
Well, I'm trying to relate, 'cause I think it's normal to not always have something to share. Like I've been in that I've had that too. Like even if like someone has to go around and in a group and everyone shares, there's times when I don't like I'm like, no, I don't have anything to share. I just feel like listening, and it feels
Yeah,
awkward to say it because there's the expectation and everybody shared and I'm like, but
yeah,
I can be guarded too if I want to, guys. Like I'm
yeah,
perfect. I can not have anything to add. I can be here and my mind can be like somewhere else, or it can just be like um I can just be like in a more shallow, like just like not wanting to share. I don't know. It's like very easy,
yeah.
so I get it. I was just checking in. Uh
You said
there
Miss
was something else.
Neutral.
Miss Neutral. She was like, I'm neutral, I feel neutral. Neutral. What's up with you guys?
You got any questions?
Yeah.
Because I didn't, and I know when I was like, yeah, there's not much to share. I don't think really feel.
Yeah. And you
Um,
share like all the time and very deeply and very vulnerably. Like there's no big deal. To me, there's no.
yeah, yeah. I mean, to be honest, though, a reaction, which to me, oops, sorry, Luna.
Mhm.
Luna got a haircut yesterday, but
Mhm.
Luna's the dog, of course. You know
Yeah,
that.
I know. Nah.
Um, My reaction after Monday was like remembering like the things I grew up with, and well, my dad passed away in 2015, and it's been like off and on. Like I don't really like talk to him every day. Like I don't really like I kind of wish there was a connection to the afterlife. And a lot of people would argue that there is, but I don't have proof, you know,
Yeah.
um myself. So I don't really it's not something I try to engage in on a regular basis. But this week after our interaction on Monday, I found myself talking to my dad yesterday when I was driving, and I was just very curious because it did strike something out because of that what the guy was explaining and the needs for um, feminine energy to, and I'm being very vague on purpose, right, for privacy, but um, the feminine energy necessary or needed to feel adequate or okay or validated. I thought that was really interesting. That's not something that we talk about a lot in society. It's always about how women are needy towards men and or the extreme of there's no good men, which I don't believe any of those things. But I don't generalize. I just don't find it like I'm like, did you test every subject and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I do believe that there's different tendencies like men have and versus women, of course, but or feminine energy versus masculine. And yeah, so my reaction to Monday was I felt inspired to um speak to my father yesterday. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
It was more kind of like an understanding of like I remember this and maybe this is how you were feeling at that time, um and I know a little bit of his story, not everything because old school parents don't really ever tell you everything. They hold a lot. He grew up when he was born, his mother passed away soon after, and then his dad bounced. So he was raised by his grandma, who died when he was young as well. So I mean, like he was in DR and he was exposed to a lot of things. So and he started working on a marine ship early on in his life. So we think that he probably got sexually abused. He kind of like mentioned some things like, his grandma was naive and would just let women off the street come in. So, it kind of alluded to, he never said it, but we alluded to potentially him having been sexually abused by women when he was younger and then having to live with that. And to be honest, I check my bias around that because it's not fair to say, but it's so much more normalized in society to, oh, well, you were a man, like you got whatever, it was a female. And but that's not okay. So anyway, my point is like trying like yesterday I was like, oh wow, like I think this might have happened to you and then I see like the struggles that you went through with needing validation and then potentially like having passed that down to myself or my siblings and why just like understanding more of like the masculine experience
Yeah.
and what they need and how that shows up anyway. But yeah, that was my reaction to Monday.
Hmm. Wow, Elizabeth, that's
Mhm.
amazing.
No. I was gonna
I,
say I'm glad you think so, but I guess it just is what it is because I don't know if it'll go anywhere from that. But it
mm,
was, at least honoring his life experience, even if I don't fully understand it.
like amazing that you had the ping to talk to him, is all I mean. Like you just were
Yeah,
like, oh,
gotcha.
hold on a second. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's chat.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. We've had some what's it called? Larger than life things happen and in the past and yeah, yeah. What I mean by that is like I can tell you, but I'm also like, I don't know. When my dad passed away, and like my one of my brothers and one of my second cousin's wives, like all had kind of like dreams about my dad and him being awake at his own funeral, and um like that's what I'm saying, like I just they seem a little bit larger than life, but
Wow.
um I did do a ceremony where I had kind of like and maybe like an out of body experience, but and I felt like when he was there, he was okay, like wherever he is right now. And it made me happy to know that or to feel that in that time.
Mm.
But I always wonder what it is about, like when you're in a psychedelic experience, like how true is the information from there in real life? Is it just like this is a great I know it's a different realm, so
Yeah.
it's curious, but that's why I was saying the larger than life thing was that like my brother, my second cousin's wife, and like us kind of having a similar thought topic at that time. That was in like 2020, 2021, 2022. I'm saying in that time frame because it was a little bit of an ongoing conversation for a little while.
Okay.
But yeah, but ever since then I didn't really dig too much until yesterday.
That is really, that is really, I find it interesting because most of the time when I talk to you, you mention your mom. So
Yeah,
this is kind of cool that you're connecting with the divine masculine side of you.
yeah. Just get like curious, like what does that mean? Like if I was completely balanced in both feminine and masculine energy that is required, right, of me, like what would my life look like? Or
Mm.
anybody's, So I just get curious, but it's just like you can't really um can you really actually have one without the other? Like I don't know. It's interesting. Like the balance of life.
Yeah, everybody, I hear this term, our issues with the world, the way we relate with ourselves comes from our mother, and the way we
Mm,
the world comes with how our father related with the world.
interesting. I saw something about like
I'm not sure if it's
epigenetics
okay.
and like the dad passing on like their stresses and stuff.
Hmm.
And I do notice some of the patterns that he had that I have
Hmm.
with things too. So that's interesting.
Yeah. I hope that like you have some good dreams. That would be kind of fun.
Oh, from back in the day?
No, like since you talk to your dad, sometimes you can call
Oh,
forth um visits if you set the intention before you go to bed. You
oh.
can ask, just say, Spirit, I'm open to receiving any visits that, might want to come through in my dream realm. I mean, I've done it before and I've had to do it a couple, I'll do it like maybe a couple weeks if I really want to drop in, but I have to be in really good sleep.
Mm,
And I also don't know where the visits come from. It could just be my own one part of me.
yeah.
But that'll be super fun because when I was doing the talking to my ancestors, that's when I started to call them in dreams, and I got some crazy visits.
Really? Like good visits or like
Yeah, I did
scary?
it. Do you have so I did despacho ceremony before, which is not hallucin and it's not any kind of plant medicine, but it's just like a lot it's honoring your ancestors and actually honoring anything that you want to burn through. So anyhow,
Mm,
um
cool.
it was really cool, but I don't feel like I got anything from just that ceremony. Like
Yeah.
it was symbolic and fun and nice. But then, well, maybe I did get something because then it pinged me to start talking to my grandmother. And I had a visit from her,
Ooh.
and she did not say a word.
She stared at you?
She was, I remember I was sitting
Mm-hmm.
and I saw her with her back towards me cleaning the floor. Like she always used to clean the floor in the Philippines. Like this woman
Mm-hmm. That's cute.
is wealthy. Like she was wealthy, my grandmother in the Philippines. But it's interesting. She was like a farmer. They had rice mills, and she
Oh,
was always cleaning. Like even if there was a house cleaner, she would clean with them.
love it. That's so interesting. Oh
Anyhow,
my God.
anyhow, she
Like,
was she was cleaning on
wow.
the floor, and then I was like, Inang, Inang, Inang is what we call her. Inang, Inang, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, it's Inang, because I'm like fully aware that she's passed in my dream.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, Inang. Like I was kind of like partly happy and partly scared because she's very intimidating.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, I mean, like not even 5 foot, not even 100 pounds, but just like strong woman. And yeah, so
Okay.
she turns around and looks at me and then stands up and she's like so tall. And I just
Mm.
and I just looked and I felt it. And what I felt in that dream was, you're bigger than this. You're bigger. You're bigger than this. That was like the message I feel she came to give me.
Mm. That you were bigger than this,
Yeah.
than that circumstance.
In the role I'd been living at that time. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful. Hmm.
She's right.
That's so interesting that you share that because I had a really interesting experience when I had plant medicine.
Hmm.
Um, this might be weird, but I'm gonna share it.
I'm down. I love the weird.
I
I love the
had
weird.
this dream that there was this beautiful lady who was in all black though,
Mhm.
which isn't a problem, but like I wear all black all the time. But in that dream, it like represented kind of like the dark side.
Yeah.
And somehow I knew that it was one of my ancestors.
Wow.
And then I was like, why are you here? You don't need to be here. And I told her to leave. And she did. And somehow I feel like she did some damage. This is what I'm saying, weird. Somehow I feel like she did some damage when she left.
Mm.
But I can't confirm or deny that, of course. Um, then when I did the plant medicine, I saw her again.
What?
And I called the shaman that was there and I was like, hey, I need help. I need help. And they came over and I was like, there's an ancestor and they're trying to like take my life. Like, not kill me, but like possess me, like take over.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, there's nothing that you don't allow that can happen to you.
Mm.
I was like, okay. So I was like, no, get out of here. My life. You lived yours. You
Oh.
made your choices. What I noticed was that they were in this very like dungeony place. And then there was when I say they, it was a female and then kind of like a lobotomized like muscle man, if that makes sense.
Wow.
I know. Like,
Wow. Amazing. That sounds wild, cool, wildly awesome.
I'm glad you think so.
How
But then
did you
after
feel
that,
when you saw him?
um, no type of way really. Just more of like him specifically, it was that to me it was like that she was manipulative and she used people.
Mm.
and she was fine with it. Like she whatever, and it could have been, to be honest, it could have been just like a matrix if you think about it, like a pattern of living.
Yeah.
Like it could have been the symbolism of your your grandmother was my great grandmother, or my grandmother was abused and manipulated and used, and then the same pattern happened with my mom, and then it was like my turn for that pattern to like take over my life, and it, it could have been that symbolism, like changing those patterns and the matrices, like like when people go through abuse and then their kid goes through the same thing, and then their great grandkids go through the same things, and it's like those with the patterns that keep repeating. So it could have just been symbolism for that too,
Yeah.
you
Totally.
know. Um, but yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. I love those kind of talks. Supernatural is interesting to me, and I mean, I definitely believe in it. I just, it's not somewhere that I really have focused a lot in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but
I haven't really gone there other than in that form. So it's kind of like people that say that they die and they come back. I'm not saying I don't believe them, but I'm like, I can only believe you to the level of my imagination of what that really is. It's not really like I met you there and we could verify. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
not to be a heretic, but literally that.
Are
The disbelief.
the disbelief.
I'm like, I have so many questions.
I know. I know. I
This is beet juice, by the way. I'm not drinking wine.
ooh, I love beet juice. I love the one at Pressed. It's like beet ginger, the roots three, I think, or that's it. I love that.
I love it. I just mix it with water because I love it. I don't want them to dilute it, but I dilute it.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. So wait, are you guys having dinner? Should we call it an early night? I mean, this is
We could call it an early night. We've already like I was cooking and like earlier for the last 2 hours, but I'm done. We've literally put all of our food away. But we can also cancel early today too if you want.
oh,
Make it a short session.
yeah. Well, what else? Hmm. What else do we want to bring in?
Is there
Anything?
anything you can think of? The only thing that I wanted to maybe share was in the speaking of the psychedelic experience, I okay, so there's this like I'm gonna share like the story. I when I lived in New York City, I always felt very like emotionally available. People always talk about emotionally unavailable people. I'm like, I was always very emotionally available. Okay. So I feel like I always had really deep experiences because of that. So someone might call it like emo, like the emo, the whatever, the dark kid or whatever. Um, and so I just felt really like deeply about things. So I had this little journal that I carried around, like, and I loved living in New York City because I would like literally date myself. Like I would go and sit at a bar and have a drink and food and journal, and it was fucking perfect for me. And I got really used to like being alone and I liked it a lot. But in this journal I remember it was like a very specific journal that had kind of like that like vine and rose thorny look to it, kind of like that.
So emo.
Yeah, exactly. I had one of those and I would always be writing, and I'm sitting in the dark today, so hilarious. But I would always write like my perfect life, like everything that I wanted, who I was, what I had to achieve. And what I didn't realize was it was just like I was building like um these standards. And standards aren't bad, but it was like you'll be enough when you
Mhm.
achieve this. You'll be enough when you get this. You'll be enough when you have this. You'll be enough, like all of those things. So it was just like, it's like, yes, this is my vision board, but I'm also telling myself I won't be okay. I won't be enough until I've achieved this list of things. So fast forward, I had years like a journal that like if you're ever at my house, I'll show it to you. But years of writing in this journal and having late nights and early mornings where I journaled, and I had this fervent like desire to make all this stuff happen. And I'm going to do this for my parents. And I'm like, before, all this stuff, like just remember all of this emotion going into this, and also the judgment of if I don't achieve this, not good enough, right?
Mhm.
So I thought it was really interesting. So in my psychedelic experience or ceremony, um, I had this cute little old lady show up, just like laughing, like, um, and if I had to paint a picture for you, it would be, didn't look the same, but the same spirit of, Moana's grandmother.
Yes, yes.
It was that type of spirit. Yeah, this was years ago. So
Mhm.
very interesting. Like that type of spirit. She didn't look like her at all, but like that type of hilarious. Look at you, you're being so silly
Yeah,
type
that,
spirit.
uh-huh.
And so my journal appears in the image, and it's like, seriously?
What?
Like this doesn't make you. This doesn't make you worthy. You're already I was like, what? And I just broke down, and I feel still like a little fleshy and broke down in like tears, like, oh my gosh, how evil have I been to myself? Like all of these expectations of like I would only be worthy if I did all of these things, and you know and it's been a work in progress to because I've always tried to earn my keep, earn love, earn friendship, earn it always, always. So much so that maybe I don't even realize anymore. Like it's so melded together
Mm.
that it's like, why am I doing this right now? It's just I mean, I love cooking for people. I love having people over or whatever, but
Yeah.
you know, but anyway, stuff like that. It's just like the earning my worth, earning my keep, insert love, any of those things. But it was just like a new view for me. It was just like, well, this is the mountain you've built
Mm.
between you and who you actually are. And then in that same kind of moment or experience, there's like this boulder. Um, and like, the school chairs, the single school chairs.
Mm.
Um, it was there, and I was sitting there, and there's a boulder in front of me. And it was like, oh, it's just you and your beliefs that are holding you back from this, not because there's actually anything. So then I got up and I walked around the boulder, and it was like, oh, your life is on the other side of your beliefs.
Wow.
So interesting. Life has been different since, for sure, but you know, I feel like I reached a peak. Mm, not really.
I was
Mm.
also curious about the because I'm the same way. Like I'm always the person who is like the maternal member,
Mm, mm-hmm.
caretaker. But I did notice that, and I don't know if it's this way for you, but it goes in seasons. Like some seasons, my other friends are more the ones who are hosting or something, and
I
then
love that.
another season I'll be the one just because of like whatever's going on, like maybe
Mm-hmm.
and like recently my one of my best friend's father passed away. So yeah, I'm not gonna look to
Mm,
her to, you know, host Mother's Day or anything like so I'll probably think of something. Um
yeah.
but last year I was so swamped with like college things for Massey that I didn't have the space to do any of that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I like how you accept that, okay, we're like, we're no longer like having that feeling of having to earn our keep, but it's part helping is just as part as receiving, and you definitely do both. It would be weird for me if I didn't receive and only wanted to help.
Mm-hmm,
But like
mm-hmm.
I'm in the space of both right now.
Yeah,
How about
yeah.
you?
I feel that way too. And honestly, like I do remember at one point feeling a little bit worried about receiving, but I don't think that I was the person. I never really been a person that's not able to receive. Not usually. I've never really had that problem. And I certainly never had an issue giving either. I think at times I would say, oh no, like it's okay. And I remember that, like if I needed something, like probably around money, maybe. Um, which I remember that like being weird. Like if I had a friend that wanted to do something and I was like, I probably can't afford that. Like they'd offer to pay, and then sometimes I'd be like, oh no, that's okay. And then the times that I didn't, at times if I did accept, like there would be like a backlash to it.
Right. Okay.
So, but interesting. Like yeah, I don't really think it was so much like I don't have too much of an issue like accepting or receiving, but my friend. I moved from New York to Colorado and she let me know like you didn't tell me, you kept me out of it and I just didn't I was like who's gonna want to help me move? Like it just didn't dawn on me that any of my friends would be like I'm gonna help you move because I
Yeah.
was always the one helping people and I mean that's not always true either. I had friends that have helped me, but so she thought our friendship was over.
Oh,
And I started reaching out to her, and she's like, I don't understand. She told me this later. She's like, I don't understand why like she's reaching out to me.
mhm.
Like our friendship's clearly over. She didn't care. Like she didn't even tell me like she was moving. And it was like, oh my God, like this friend I have like wants to help me move and wants to be. She's like, I don't want to be a part of. I don't want to have a friend that I can't help through their struggles.
Right.
And I loved that. Like I really took that like so like
So
dear
beautiful.
to my heart. Yeah. And then I was like, that resonates really like a lot with me,
Yeah.
like
To
to
let her be.
experience a yeah, to experience the full person
Hmm.
as opposed to only like, fair weather, like when everything's good.
Yes.
Because you don't really trust them around you when things aren't, or people that can't handle you when you're not at your best. So those have always been like interesting to me in response to what you're saying. But
Yeah, that's awesome that she did that, that she was vulnerable to tell you.
yeah, well, it was I had no idea. I had no idea. I was like, oh my God, because in the season that I met her in New York, and we're really good friends. She's like a friend of the family now. Um, And honestly, during that time, I was always like, I got so much value from her
Mm.
that I felt like I was her little sister, like her annoying little sister. So when I moved, I was like, oh, we probably only meet up because I'm like annoying and she's like allowing me to be around. But she's like, no, like you're my friend, like you add a lot of value to my life. And I was like, really?
Yes.
So now, like that really strengthened our friendship. Like that she was vulnerable, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. Like I really didn't.
Wow,
But
yeah. Yeah, like she probably felt a little abandoned too.
yeah, yeah. But it was really
Right?
cool.
How we don't realize how much people love us.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
don't
and
know.
yeah, yeah. So cool, so cool.
I love you.
I love you too. Right back at ya.
Much. I don't know what I would do without you. You better not go move on me, girl. Well, we're just on Zoom, but you know what I mean.
I do. Beautiful. I love all your posts and your sharing lately.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to be visible, not invisible.
No, that's so good.
Um, all right, well, today's Wednesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll see you Saturday if I don't talk to you, texting or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Okay, hope you have a great rest of your week, Elizabeth.
You
Bye.
too. Bye bye.